Hi, my name is Terri. I'm with Portland Parks and Recreation Fitness Program. Today we will be doing Yin Yoga. And Yin Yoga is very slow yoga. It's intense yoga. And even though it's slow and down on the mat mostly, it does not mean that it's easy. So be safe, modify your exercises as needed, make sure that you pay attention to your doctor's orders and have plenty of space and proper equipment, including a couple of blocks, a blanket if you need it for beneath your knees, and a mat. The mask is optional, especially if you're practicing around others. And yeah, you always want to have plenty of water. And yeah, so you want to just make sure that your body is in the right kind of condition to do this deep stretch. So grab your water and let's get started. Okay, so we are getting into our Yin Yoga, and you should have your two blocks by your side, and we're going to start on our backs. And as far as the breath, you want to try to breathe through your nose with your mouth closed through most of this session. And we may be adding some deeper breaths from time to time. So for now, take your feet about as wide as your mat, and you're just going to let your knees come in. And so feet out to the edges of the mat, knees go in. You're kind of tenting your knees, and we're going to hold this for a little bit. We're just kind of getting used to the breath. So take a nice inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Feel the breath rise through your chest with your inhale. And lift your ribs and exhale into your belly. And again. And again. Now what we're going to do is called Windshield Wipers. And so we're going to take our knees apart. And this time, instead of both of the knees going in symmetrically, you're going to take your right knee in toward the center, and your left knee is going to fall to the left side. And if you do have blocks or equipment around you, you want to make sure that you have a nice space around so that your knees can fall freely. Okay, so here we go. And use your breath. So inhale, right knee in, left to the side. Take an exhale. Inhale, the other way. Exhale. And again. Inhale, exhale. Start to get into this slow rhythm. Inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And again. Inhale. Exhale. And last time, inhale. And exhale. Oh, I guess I did another one of those. Okay, we're going to take knees to the chest, both knees, wrap your arms around, and if it's comfortable for you, you can lift your head a little. So bring your head toward your chest, and also if it's comfortable, you can add a rocking motion from side to side. As you're doing this, working with breath, try to inhale one way, exhale the other way. Again, inhale, exhale, again. And the other way. And we'll do this 2 more times. And so that's 2 to each side. So again and again. Perfect. Okay, we're going to go into Happy Baby. So Happy Baby looks like this. You have your feet out, and we're going to start by touching the insides of our legs just to warm up a bit. We're still warming up. And then you're going to try to press your calves or your feet outward. Feel that stretch through your hamstrings and into your glutes. So we're just going to breathe into this. We're working on hip openers in this class today. Let your ribs and chest rise on your inhale, and exhale, release through your belly. Again, release, and again, release. And now that you warmed up a little, see if you can grab the outsides of your feet. Perfect. Inhale and exhale. And so my suggestions are just that. You can stay in whatever position you want to. You can avoid positions that are too challenging or that may compromise your health in some way. And for those of you who want to add rocking to this position that we're holding, feel free to do that. And I want to add a note of caution with that. Be careful of your lower back. So I am going to add a little rocking very slowly. Now the other side. If you are rocking, you want to do it fairly slowly so that you're still getting the benefits of this deep stretching. Use your breath. Inhale one way, exhale the other way. Okay, now we're going to do half a Happy Baby. That means one leg stays up. And right now I have one knee bent. Well, actually I have 2 knees bent, but this leg might be straighter than mine. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to try to straighten this other leg here. Yeah, okay. So the Happy Baby, half Happy Baby is a little bit deeper than the full. Now we're just gonna kind of let this stretch guide us. Work with that connective tissue. So yin is about stretching the connective tissue in the body. So we're working on our hips. Should feel like a good deep stretch. If it starts to feel painful, then it's time to come out of it. For me, I definitely feel it, but I'm not in pain. I'm just really feeling it. Okay, so we'll release that side. You can start with the bent knee on that side, this foot, and then take the other leg up. And now it's up to you if you straighten this leg. So I'm going to try that. And we'll just kind of sink into this side now. You might notice that your hips are not symmetrical. So you might have more flexibility on one side You might have more sensitivity on one side. It's always good to notice what's going on in your body. Because the stretching in yin is quite deep, it can release blocks, sometimes emotional. So if you experience some emotions during this session, that's what's going on. And so releasing that is inevitably healthy. But if you feel like you need a little more than yoga, you might want to talk to somebody about what's going on. Okay, so now we're going to come out of that half happy baby and cross your ankles. And so from here, we'll do some rocking, but this is going to be up and down instead of side to side. So I want to make sure that the back is in shape to do this. Should feel good. If it doesn't, just avoid it. I'll do this one more time. All right, so from here, you can use a block or not. And what we're going to do is some more hip openers, and some of this will involve the lower back. So you always want to be careful when you have the lower back involved. Okay, so the first one that we're doing here is just straight leg. And I have one leg bent, so my left leg is bent. My foot is placed about where the knee is. And then I can start to come forward, stretching out the lower back. My leg always likes to shake with this stretch. So that is something going on in the hip, but it's a good thing to stretch out things sometimes, even if you see a little shaking. If you want to, you can grab your toes. I'm just going to keep my hands to the sides because I want to protect my lower back. And so my head is tilted forward. If that starts to bother your back, you can let go of that and release your head, lift your head higher. Okay, so we're just gonna stretch this, keep going even if it's shaking. Let's try to take about 5 more breaths here. Perfect, so we'll do the same thing to the other side, and you are welcome to discard the block if you don't need it. The block helps to open up the lower back. All right, so I'm on side number 2, other knee bent, and head tilted forward. And I am using my fingertips. If your palms come flat to the mat, that's fine. If your hands need to come higher up, that's also fine. And like with the other stretch, you may notice a difference on each side. Like this side, I can stretch a little bit farther. Whatever you're doing, just pay attention to your body. Because these stretches are so deep, you don't want to jar anything. You just want to be able to benefit from a nice deep stretch, but make sure that what you're doing is not too much for your body. Okay, so we'll come out of that and we're going to do what's called Dragonfly. And I am going to do this on the block still, but you have the option of doing this without the block. And so working on our hips, you can lean forward. You can also flex your feet. And your feet don't have to be off the mat like mine. So we're just gonna keep holding this. Take advantage of breath. If you feel more comfortable with your hands in the center, you can try that. Let's try for 5 nice long breaths here. Now that we've been holding this for a while, let's see if you can come forward just a little bit more. See if there's any release going on in those hips. Okay, we're going to walk the hands back to center and very slowly come onto our knees. And that's hands and knees, so we're coming into table. Table is the start of cat-cow. And so we want our knees to be hip distance apart, knees stacked under the hips, and we want our hands to be stacked under the shoulders. Okay. And fingers spread wide like starfish. All right, so we'll do some cat-cow. And here's a modification for you. You can do this with your fingertips on the mat and see what that does to open the space in your shoulders. All right, so we're gonna inhale, arch, exhale, round. Inhale, arch, exhale, round. Inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna do a little child's pose. So hands come forward, and we're gonna do some movement with this. Fingers still spread wide, and this time you can take your knees wider. Okay, so you're gonna come back onto your knees with your butt down. Let's see if we can get some rhythm going here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale. Now hold. Try to press your forehead against your mat. If that doesn't feel right for your neck, you can use your block and place it under your head like this. Okay, so I'm just going to put my forehead on the mat. We're going to hold and try to breathe. I know it's a bit constricted here, but if you use your shoulders, you can actually have a little rhythm going by lifting your shoulders. And feel that breath rising from your rib cage and then releasing into your belly. Let's try to hold this for 5 more breaths. Perfect. Okay, so from here, we are going to be doing a little more stretching the hip. So take your blocks, and if you have a blanket, now is a good time to get the blanket out, especially if your knees are sensitive. You can place the blanket under your knees. Okay, so we're going to start with runner's lunge. So I want you to bend your right knee, and you're going to take your left knee back. So we're really stretching out the hip, and so you want your knee to be above your ankle. And so see how your hip is doing with this. This is a straight on stretch. I have my blocks high. Maybe you feel better with your blocks low or with no blocks at all. You can also adjust your back leg. So I have my toes straight behind me instead of curled toes. So I'm really stretching out this hip flexor on the left. I've got the glutes stretching, the right and the left side. Just a good overall hip stretch. And for now, you can keep your head up high. Take a few more breaths on this side. Perfect. And we're going to do exactly the same thing to the other side. So now you're going to bend your left knee, and the right knee, well, is bent, but not in a 90-degree angle, but behind. So you want to feel that hip flexor again. Okay, so from here, you have your choice: blocks high, blocks vertical, horizontal like mine, or no blocks. So we're stretching deep into the hips here. Remember to keep breathing. It should be kind of uncomfortable, but the stretch is intense and we are loosening up the hips. Uncomfortable is okay, painful is not. So there's that fine line. If it starts to hurt, then come out of it, especially if the hurt doesn't seem to be stretching or benefiting your hip at all. A few more breaths on this side. Perfect. Now take that knee back, and for a minute we're just going to do a little cat-cow. You can use your blocks if you want. Now we're going to do the lizard. So looks a little bit like runner's lunge, but you are going to take your feet out, right foot, toes pointed toward the edge of the mat, and the hands come inside. Both of the hands come inside. Again, we bring that left leg back, so you've got that stretch happening in the hips. So from here, a couple of options. You can remain upright. So we're really getting this stretch in the hip here, the glute behind us. And then if you want, you can intensify the stretch by bringing your elbows to the blocks. And so imagine this is how a lizard feels before they're maybe about to eat something or pounce on something. All right, so I've got my elbows down here. I can really feel this stretch, but it's a good stretch. And finally, you can release your head. And for those of you with more flexibility, you're welcome to let the blocks go and take your elbows down to the mat. If you are experiencing back pain as you're doing this, I don't recommend this stretch for you. So Yin is considered level 1. However, the stretches are really intense. So I don't know that. I mean, I know that it's considered level 1 because you move slowly and the poses are mostly close to the mat. However, the deepness of it makes it feel like maybe it's more than level 1, but you can decide for yourselves. All right, so we're going to switch sides now. And you might be feeling that really deeply in your hips. If you need to loosen something up before you do the other side, go ahead and do that. But I will give you a stretch after we do this side. Okay, so now I have my left toes pointed toward the left edge of the mat. And right away I'm noticing a difference because I'm not as flexible on this side. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to come down on my elbows and put the blocks flatter or keep them higher. But let's see what happens here. Okay, so you might need to make an adjustment like this, modify for one side as you see fit. Remember to keep breathing. You do want your left knee to be somewhat active in terms of it pointing upward instead of to the side. And I was going to turn my blocks, but I'm not sure that I'm going to do that now. So you may be like me. You may have to, use blocks on one side, not use them on the other, or turn them a different way. But whatever you're doing, you should be getting some benefit from this stretch. We use our hips a lot when we're sitting, and so they can get very stiff during the average workday. Couple more breaths here. Oh, okay. So we're going to do a little bit of stretching. I told you we would. So take your right leg back, curl your toes, and you don't really need the blocks to do this. You can just put your hands on your mat. So we're going to kind of come forward and back, forward, back, again, forward and back. Lift that leg and circle it a couple of times and a couple of times the other way. Good. Okay, other leg. Gonna try to do the same thing. So back, forward, again, forward, and again, and forward. Let's give this a couple of circles and the other way. Perfect. Okay, so we're still working on our hips, and we are going to I think come onto our backs, and we'll come into bridge. And I'll give you some options with the bridge. Okay, so you can take up one block, and let me start out explaining this a little bit. So to start with, place your palms on your mat, and you want your middle fingers to touch your heels. And so from this point, you can take a block and place it under your tailbone. And so it's about equal distance between your tailbone and your butt. So you don't want it really digging into your back. You want it to be comfortable. Okay, so from here, we're going to lift and hold. Release. And again. And release. Let's try this one more time. Lift and hold. As you're doing this, remember to keep breathing. Using your chest and your ribs and releasing the air into your belly. Press your feet into the mat. See if you can push up just a little more. At this point, if you want, you can let go of the block, clasp your fingers under, roll your shoulders toward each other. Very slowly start to unroll from this bridge. Okay, now you're going to take your left knee slowly up toward your chest. And then right knee. And release. And as far as breath, try to inhale as you pull your knee toward your chest. Exhale, release. And again, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And again. And release. Two knees towards your chest and hold. As you're doing this, let your breath still happen, even though you're quite squished up here in this fetal position. Okay, so we're gonna do another stretch with, this is kind of like bound angle. But so one knee is bent and then the other knee is bent, but the foot will rest on the calf muscle of the other leg. Feel that release. Just let it happen. Let go of any restriction you might have there, whether it's mental or physical. We're going to switch to the other side. might notice a difference in your hips. Just see if you can let go on this other side, whether or not it's stiffer than the first side. Perfect. And now place your hands, palms up, and feet, toes just going toward the sides of the mat or the corners. And you're in your Shavasana Pose. Inhale, take a deep breath. Lifting up through your chest and your ribs. Exhale, release. Open your mouth. And let go of your breath. Inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. Exhale. So this class will be added to Portland Parks and Recreation Stay and Play video series, and it's available free on YouTube. Make sure to press the like button and comment with any feedback or questions. You can also find more videos at portland.gov/parks/stay and play. And I'll see you next time. Bring your yoga blocks. Bye.